Welcome to Daily Planet TV. I'm Lucian and we're on the net. Today is Thursday, August 18th, 2005. First up, our top story of the day. Scientists in Australia's tropical north are collecting blood from crocodiles in the hope of developing a powerful antibiotic for humans after tests showed that the reptile's immune system kills the HIV virus. The crocodile's immune system is much more powerful than that of humans, preventing life-threatening infections after savage territorial fights which often leave the animals with gaping wounds and missing limbs. Initial studies of the crocodile immune system in 1998 found that several antibody proteins in the reptile's blood killed bacteria that were resistant to penicillin, such as golden staph. It was also a more powerful killer of the HIV virus than the human immune system. Pretty amazing. And it's official, a new moon race is on. Space Adventures, the company that sent the first tourist to the International Space Station, announced last week that it had cut a deal with the Russian space agency, the RKA, to send tourists on a flight to the moon by 2010. It will be the first manned Russian mission to the moon and the first manned lunar mission period since NASA's Apollo 17 in 1972. Only this won't be much of a race. To be sure, NASA has its own plans to return to the moon, but that mission depends on fabulously expensive new hardware that's still in the conceptual stage and that NASA says won't be ready until 2018. The Russian mission, on the other hand, will use off-the-shelf hardware that's practically ready to go now. All it has to do is wait for Space Adventures to find a couple of tourists willing and able to fork over the $100 million each to pay for it. That may sound like a lot of money, but it's still less than half of what NASA spends on each space shuttle mission. To be fair, the Russian mission will simply loop around the moon and come back without landing. But if the first missions are successful, landings will be next and will require only one new piece of hardware, a lander. By many measures, the Russian Space Agency is miles ahead of NASA, a situation that's become increasingly clear over the last 2.5 years as NASA has had to bum rides on Russia's Soyuz space capsules while its aging, accident-prone space shuttles languish in the shop. With the upcoming lunar mission, it will become abundantly clear just how many miles the RKA is ahead of NASA. And that's about 250,000 miles, which is the distance from the Earth to the moon. And next up, a man has been arrested in Japan on suspicion of carrying out a virtual mugging spree by using software bots to beat up and rob characters in the online computer game Lineage 2. The stolen virtual possessions were then exchanged for real cash. The Chinese exchange student was arrested by police in Kagawa Prefecture, southern Japan. Several players had their characters beaten and robbed of valuable objects, which could have included the earrings of wisdom, oh God, not that, or the shield of nightmare. The items were then fenced through a Japanese auction website, according to NC Soft, which makes Lineage 2. The assailant was a character controlled by a software bot rather than a human player, making it unbeatable. By performing tasks within a game repetitively or very quickly, bots can easily outplay human-controlled characters, giving unscrupulous players an unfair advantage. Many game firms employ countermeasures to detect this bot activity. For example, they can ask the character questions or present them with an unfamiliar situation and monitor their response. Furthermore, the line between virtual and real cash has already disappeared. In the game EverQuest, for example, it lets players buy and sell virtual items and characters for real money through an authorized online trading site. Virtual mugging. What's next? And in our final story, round one goes to the alligator. City officials this morning suspended their search for an elusive 7-foot gator discovered in a Los Angeles park after a frustrating, failed week-long hunt. Rangers and staff will be posted round the clock at Harbor City's Lake Machado until the search resumes, which should be in about 2 weeks. "He's so spooked now," said Gator wrestler Jay Young, who was paid $800 a day plus expenses while he tried to corral the creature. Young, who's from Colorado, said prior commitments will take him out of Los Angeles for about 2 weeks. The hunt will resume when he returns, according to Ron Berkowitz of the Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks. Many of the several dozen spectators who have watched the hunt were cheered by the gator's temporary reprieve. Several said they liked the idea of the alligator swimming freely about the lake because swimming there is prohibited and it's a notoriously bad spot to fish. And with the gator in it, it will stay a notoriously bad spot to fish. See, I got it right that time. That's it for tonight. I'm Lucian. We're on the net. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.